Have you been taking responsibility for your health? If you have, we urge you to continue. If you have not, then there's no time better than the present to start doing so. Avoid close contact with persons experiencing cold and flu-like symptoms. At least 2 meters is recommended. Wash hands thoroughly with soap and water or use a hand sanitizer if hands are not visibly soiled. And be sure to frequently disinfect used surfaces such as doorknobs, light switches, and countertops. For more tips, visit moh.gov.jm. Your Jamaica Magazine program continues with more advice, followed by the news. Stay with us.
Protect yourself from the flu virus. Visit your nearest health center or doctor to get the flu vaccine. Cover your mouth and nose when coughing and sneezing. Wash your hands regularly with soap and water or by using an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Avoid the spread of germs by not touching your eyes, mouth, or nose. And be sure to regularly disinfect surfaces and objects that are used often. Remember, your health is your responsibility.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Monday, March 9. Government has unveiled a nearly $2 billion COVID-19 comprehensive response plan. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton outlined the plan in an address to the nation Sunday night. He says it has received the approval of the National Disaster Risk Management Council, which is chaired by Prime Minister Andrew Holness. The plan includes support for emergency response agencies and mobilizing needed resources to delay, detect, contain, manage, and communicate about COVID-19.
Coordinating, including collaboration across government and with other key stakeholders. Surveillance, including imposition of travel restrictions now on 5 countries. Case management, including treatment, readiness of health facilities, monitoring of supplies, laboratory response, including training to enable local capacity for testing for the virus, sensitization of healthcare workers, public education, and communication.
To date, Jamaica has no cases of COVID-19, popularly known as the novel coronavirus. But with the global spread continuing, Dr. Tufton warns that it remains a clear and present danger to the island. He outlined that if the virus is detected here and we have community transmission, about 2.6 million persons could become ill, although most will have mild symptoms. Of that number, 800,000 are likely to seek medical care, and just about 2,000 of those who visit public health facilities will require hospital care. 360 will require critical care.
We have planned for these eventualities. I wish to emphasize that the success of our efforts is contingent on the support of all Jamaicans, including the deliberate efforts to access and share accurate information on the virus, thus helping to minimize the fears and anxiety that has been associated with the spread of the COVID-19.
Meanwhile, Sandals Resorts International has donated 10 handheld thermal scanners to support government's response to the COVID-19 global outbreak. The devices, which were presented to the Ministry of Health and Wellness on Friday, are valued at over $280,000. They will be used at the country's ports of entry and possibly some quarantine facilities, as the ministry's medical staff check for elevated temperature levels in individuals.
So these thermometers, you don't have to touch persons, and we can do the temperature and do our assessment quickly.
We also, of course, want to commend the Minister Tufton and his team for what they have been doing to date in their efforts to safeguard our borders. We have seen where the information is flowing. They are doing quite a bit to educate us all on the progress and what it is that we need to be doing as citizens ourselves. And we just wanted to step in and play our part.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness is, meanwhile, advising the public to observe the standard infection prevention and control precautions, especially relating to viral respiratory illnesses. These include frequent hand washing, covering the mouth when coughing and sneezing with tissues or clothing, and avoiding contact with persons who display flu-like symptoms. In related news, the Education Ministry has provided primary schools with the first tranche of funds to purchase hand sanitizers and other material to minimize the spread of communicable diseases. In a statement on the weekend, the ministry said the money was uploaded to the school's accounts on Friday. This initial payment covers $30,000 to primary schools with populations below 950 students and $50,000 each to those with more pupils. Each high school will also be provided with $50,000. The payment will be augmented based on an assessment of the school's needs. Minister with Oversight for Education Carl Samuda says this initial payment is intended to supplement funds which have already been allocated to schools to deal with their operational needs. In the meantime, the ministry is continuing its dialogue with internet service providers and other stakeholders to determine how best to make educational material available to students in the event that there is an outbreak of the novel coronavirus, which may require schools to be closed. In other news, 332 new constables will be deployed shortly to strengthen the work of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF. The new constables graduated from the National Police College of Jamaica last Thursday. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says they have joined the JCF at a time when the force is undergoing significant internal restructuring to strengthen its capacity to deal with criminal activities, as well as to improve efficiency, morale, and professionalism of JCF officers. He has charged the newest members to serve with professionalism and integrity.
We are creating a new culture of policing in Jamaica, one that is distinct and unique to our country. Brand Jamaica is strong enough and have the intellectual capacity to, in fact, creating that kind of culture within our law enforcement agency.
The minister pointed out that government was investing in modern technology and forensic science to support the police's work to solve crimes. He also reiterated plans to improve police stations, acquire more non-lethal tools for officers, and purchase additional vehicles and bikes. And finally, residents of St. Catherine now have access to an additional 126 Justices of the Peace, following a recent installation ceremony. Among the newly appointed JPs are Mayor of the parish's capital, Councillor Norman Scott, and Portmore's Mayor, Councillor Leon Thomas. Minister of Justice Delroy Chuck has thanked the JPs for offering their services, even as he encourages them to uphold good morals in Jamaica.
For you to really exhibit and discharge your duty as a justice of the peace, the most important quality you must possess is unquestionable integrity.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
$5 billion has been added to the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information's budget for the upcoming 2020-2021 fiscal year. Most of that allocation will go towards improving school infrastructure, which would be in the form of more classroom spaces and getting more schools off the shift system. Find out more next.
We want to raise the standard of our schools, no matter how small, no matter how large. We need to put our children in a learning environment that is conducive to enabling them to maximize their potential.
A whopping $118.5 billion has been allotted to the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information this fiscal year to achieve this mission. A significant portion of the recurrent budget will go towards education administration and services for children and youth. Under the capital budget, numerous infrastructural developments have been earmarked. $70 million will be used to complete renovation of the ministry's head office at National Heroes Circle and its Caenwood Center facilities on Arnold Road in Kingston.
No school, no classroom must have a desk designed for two, having 3 students at that desk. None. No classroom, no school should be devoid of proper sanitation.
$90 million has been set aside to upgrade and expand the Mount St. Joseph High School in Mandeville under the Education Transformation Program. The funds will be spent on the completion of a sixth form block and pre-construction work for an auditorium, administrative building, and third and fourth form blocks. Another $1 billion was allocated to improve infrastructure at the primary and secondary level. It includes the construction of new classrooms at 12 shift schools in St. Anne, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Portland, Trelawney, Clarendon, Kingston, and St. Andrew. Under this program, there will also be construction taking place for the Dias Infant School, electrical upgrades at 5 high schools, and the erection of security fencing at 3 secondary institutions. $143 million is also in the 2020-2021 budget to complete construction of a special education diagnostic center at the College of Agriculture, Science and Education in Portland. The funds will go towards the installation of a wastewater system on the property. In order to reduce electricity expenses at government-owned schools, $60 million will be spent on alternative energy. Among the objectives this year is to complete retrofitting, upgrades, and structural repairs to the roofs of targeted schools. And an additional $61 million will be used to construct 4 classrooms at Black River High School and purchase 1 new school bus for Richmond Park Primary under the Japanese Grassroots Project.
Our embassy has sincerely supported this project because we believe that all students must have access to the critical resources that will foster their academic growth and development.
We have achieved with what we had last financial year. We have achieved a lot, but we have a journey to go.
The Planning Institute of Jamaica Dialogue for Development 2020 comes to Montego Bay on Thursday, March 12 under the theme Aging and Development, Exploding Myths, Exploring Opportunities at the Noel S. Fraser Auditorium, Mount Salem, St. James, starting at 9:30 a.m. Topics include business development, health services, financial planning, and lifestyle services for seniors. The Dialogue for Development 2020 is in pursuit of sustainable development, brought to you by the Planning Institute of Jamaica, planning today, securing tomorrow.
Cervical cancer is a serious disease that usually takes years to develop. The fact is, it may not cause signs and symptoms in its early stages, so it's imperative that you get regular screening to ensure you are in good health.
She had her first child at 16 and the second just past the age of 19. Her life was going well until, at age 26, she started to experience excruciating pain with abnormally heavy periods. She dismissed it. Maybe it's stress, a miscalculation of the period start date, until one night, the pain became too unbearable to ignore.
When I went to the doctor, she said, do a pap smear. When I did the pap smear, 3 weeks after, she called me and said, what they see, the pap smear don't come back normal. I have to go and do a colposcopy.
Her doctor advised her to see a gynecologist. At the gynecologist, a test was done and an emergency colposcopy ordered.
A colposcopy is the insertion inside of it with a camera and all the tests to see what's happening. And when they did the biopsy and everything and it come back, I was literally at a stage 3 cervical cancer. At 26 with 2 children and at a stage 3 cancer, all you hear about cancer is death.
Determined to fight, she weighed her options. Her treatment of choice was radiation and chemotherapy at the Kingston Public Hospital.
Radiation burns your body. Can you imagine you cannot have a shower for at least 3 to 4 months. You just have to cut and do everything. You cannot eat normal food. because if you do, you're going to have constant diarrhea or vomiting, or your system starts to change. But thank God for KPH, there were some good doctors there, very good doctors who encouraged me, who loved me through this, as I was one of the youngest young girl at KPH at that time, going through this and doing this treatment. And I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And I went through it. I prayed, thank God. He had a plan for me, and I'm here today. And I am here with this team saying, taking responsibility. It's not the government to take responsibility for you. I'm going to encourage parents to encourage your children to take care of them, to protect them from this act before it's too late. Some of us don't show signs. But look at me today. Thanks to KPH, thanks to the good doctors, thanks that at 26 I didn't have any money. So what would I do? Don't I would have died? And I hear people talk about the system. No. They are there to help us. I pay a little money. That's why I'm standing here today with the grace of God. Amen. Right? So go to the clinics and go with a good attitude and talk to your nurse and your doctor, and you will see how it works out. So remember, take responsibility for who? You and your... Okay.
For more information on cervical cancer caused by the human papillomavirus, call 888-1-LOVE. That's 888-663-5683. You may also email hpvinfo@moh.gov.jm.
I want to see a Jamaica that is cervical cancer free. Cervical cancer is one of the leading causes of cancer in women in our nation, and I want this to stop. The HPV vaccine has been proven to be the most effective method to prevent cervical cancer. It is a safe vaccine, and it is best to give the vaccine to young girls before they've even been exposed to the HPV virus. So parents, I want to encourage you to let your daughters get the HPV vaccine. Let us protect our next generation against cervical cancer.
Don't wait. Vaccinate against cervical cancer. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. More than 840,000 trees have been planted across the island since November's launch of the 3 Million Trees in 3 Years initiative. Find out more about the program that's geared towards combating climate change.
Climate change is real. We must address it in order to secure our future. Our children are depending on us.
And so the government has launched an initiative which will see a tree being planted for every Jamaican on the island. These 3 million trees will be planted over a 3-year period across the length and breadth of Jamaica land we love.
Planting trees, of course, is one of the ways in which Jamaica is taking deliberate, strategic, and decisive action to mitigate the effects of climate change.
The program will be managed by the Forestry Department with support from the European Union's Development Fund.
€1 million of the total amount will be specifically dedicated to reforestation and maintenance of degraded lands, with special attention to species that are indigenous to Jamaica.
Our aim is to improve the resilience of our coasts, hillsides, and plains, while also improving the beauty of our urban centers, major thoroughfares, parks, and the added effect of offsetting greenhouse gas emissions.
All the trees that we are planting over the next 3 years will be for nothing if we don't deal with the issue of the degradation of the forests. Ladies and gentlemen, if our forests are cut down without regard for sustainable forest management, we all know that our watersheds and our water supply challenges will worsen.
The 3 Million Trees initiative will focus on 3 main areas.
It would be one that protects our coast, including mangroves, one that does general forestation, one that includes urban forestation, and on the other side,
we're going to have a national fruit tree planting program of 3 million fruit trees to be planted as well.
In addition to 1,000 Hope interns that will benefit under the program, employment opportunities will be provided for persons from communities adjacent to areas to be planted.
$2 million timber seedlings will be planted on over 3,000 hectares of land managed by the Forestry Department. The department will distribute the remaining plants, a mixture of timber and ornamentals, to the public.
We want to get more of the private sector adopting hillsides. These are lands that we manage, that we want to just take charge and be responsible for the maintenance of all of that.
To ensure that the seedlings remain viable and transition into healthy forest, a mobile app using GPS technology is being finalized. This private-public sector partnership will see the monitoring and tracking of the plant's progress.
Because it's nice that we plant the trees today, we take a lot of pictures and everything, but what happened to those trees afterwards? So we really want everybody to ensure that the trees we plant today, we return to them, ensure that they are still growing, and check on the trees we planted last year.
We are taking a different approach with this project to ensure its success. Over the next 3 years, we will be rolling out different aspects of the initiative through public education campaigns focused on the preservation of the environment.
The challenge has been thrown out. Will you answer the call? Will you dedicate a portion of your land for planting trees? Will you adopt a hillside to stop landslides? Will you ensure that the trees you've planted are nurtured? We can do it. We should do it. We must do it.
It is hope that this action will ignite in every single Jamaican the understanding, the will and the commitment to play their part in securing Jamaica's environment and making Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, do business, and retire in paradise.
I got into farming because my hobby was gardening. I was nuts about plants, flowers. So it was kind of a natural area to look for when I was looking for something to do. I started in an area that didn't have water, so I was not able to irrigate. And with climate change, it made things really, really unpredictable, very risky, and just difficult. So I don't consider myself as having really started farming until I moved into this agro park, where I was able to irrigate and do things in an optimal way.
Amity All is approximately 2,400 acres. We have 22 investors, 5 of which are female. The soil is predominantly Sydenham clay, and the crops that do well here, we have the cucurbits. That would include pumpkins, sweet potatoes, zucchini, squash. Also a few tubers do very well, sweet potatoes and cassava. Those crops do very well. We also have a lot of farmers who have gone into the Scotch bonnet pepper, and they're also doing very well. Once we manage the water application with the type of soil that we have, and give proper nutrition, these crops do very well.
Life has been a learning experience primarily because of the Sydenham clay, but I don't know if that's particular to this park. I think anywhere that you go, you have to learn to work with what you have. So it's been a learning experience, and but one good thing about it is that you see the rewards at the end of the day because you're able to irrigate or fertigate, which is fertilizing through the irrigation system. So you're getting closer. I see myself inching closer and closer to the point where I'll get optimal yields, which is what every farmer wants. Everything that I produce goes to food processors. And the particular processor that I sell to, 90% of their output is exported. So I like to think that I'm a part of that whole chain that is earning foreign exchange for the country. I plant only hot peppers. I'm trying this year to try and stretch myself and learn other things. So I'm hoping on the boundaries I've created little areas where I'm going to do some experimentation. But for now, I'm only doing hot peppers and specifically Scotch bonnet. I've set myself the challenge of trying to master that because of the two types that we grow here in Jamaica, that definitely is the most demanding one. So still going up the learning curve. I think the reason why I settled on peppers is because you can sell it. You don't have to scratch your head and wonder where you're going to sell it. Because most of the processors have back orders, export orders. And in fact, we've found ourselves in the situation in Jamaica where processors have to import pepper mash. So you will never ever have a problem selling your product. If you never went to farm school, if you don't really have experience, try to get into a situation where people are readily accessible to give you that encouragement, not just advice, technical advice, but also encouragement, because sometimes you may go through a little period where you feel, wow, is this really worth it? And that support is valuable. But that's one thing. In terms of practical advice, don't go anywhere without water. Just don't go anywhere without water. That's the mistake I made. And the second thing is try to farm reasonably close to where you live. Another mistake that I made, because how often you go to your farm, the hours you put in, it shows. The further away you live, you try and cut corners here and cut corners there, and it will show.
When you come to Amityville, there are a few things. There are things here that can help to foster your production. One, we have a team of stakeholders working together to cater to your needs. We have the RAD extension officers, we have the persons from NIC, we have the team from AIC. We also have a group of farmers that are willing to work together to help to move the produce not from the ground to the plate.
And that's how we closed out Jamaica Magazine, but only for today. We return tomorrow around about the same time right here on this station. Stay connected with us at your leisure online. There's our website, our pages on all the social media platforms, our YouTube channel, and our mobile app that's smartphone compatible. On behalf of the entire team here at the GIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.